When the all-new ND Miata came to market about 2 years ago, it instantly held its position as the best-selling roadster in the world. Now, Mazda offers a choice between a new retractable fastback hardtop version or the classic soft-top roadster. The question remains, for around 30,000 bucks, which one is the better buy? Let's take a look and find out. It's hard to believe that the ND Miata has been on the market for about 2 years now, and I have to say, the car still turns a lot of heads when you're just driving down the road. This one, as you guys know, is my actual personal car. I bought it about 2 years ago. It has right around 11,000 miles. It's a GT soft top stick shift, around 11,000 miles. Mazda just sent me over the RF version, which I've been really excited to show you guys. Essentially, the two cars are identical. You can see the front ends are identical. You have standard LED headlights that swivel on the GT model. The front bumper is identical. If you guys want a slightly different look on the Club or the Miata, you have to go for the Club version as opposed to the GT, which is more of a softer look. Now, I'm going to focus primarily on the RF because this is the one that just came out a couple months ago. Now, this particular one, it's a soul red with the tan interior. I think it looks gorgeous. This is one of the best looking convertibles you can buy for under $40,000. This GT model has the standard dark silver finished wheels. Really look nice. They're in 205/45 summer tires. The Club model does offer a BBS wheel, but currently 17s are the largest you can get on a Miata. Now, when you follow me over to the rear, this is where you're going to see the biggest differences, obviously. Mazda has put a power retractable hardtop. Now, it's not the same kind of hardtop you got on the previous generation. This is a fastback style, Targa style design. However, Mazda couldn't use Targa because Porsche trademarked that name, so instead they call it RF for retractable fastback. As you can see, the top is down right now, and this piece is always there. So it doesn't quite give you that full roadster experience like you get with the soft top, where you have just all-around visibility 360 when you look at the back. But if you guys want, the convenience and the security of a hardtop, this is the one that you have to get. But other than that, I really love the flying buttress design here with the way it connects with the rear haunches and this panel here. It just looks really expensive. This car seriously attracts a lot of stares, and it looks very different versus the soft top. Now, around back, both models are identical, LED taillights, the same dual outlet exhausts with the dual tips. And you can see this one is missing the rear lip spoiler that mine has, which you can add as a dealer accessory that comes standard on the Club model. But overall, it's a very premium looking car, especially if you guys decide to go for the hardtop version. Now, if you want to follow me over to mine, you can see obviously full roadster experience because of the soft top. Some of you may actually prefer this instead of the way the hardtop kind of makes you feel slightly enclosed still. Mine has a accessory rear lip spoiler that's body colored. The Clubs give you like a black color one, and then mine has the Flying Miata active exhaust system, which definitely makes it much more aggressive sounding. You can also add that to the RF. See the guys at Flying Miata if you guys want to add that feature, which I'll show you guys some differences the way the two cars sound with the active exhaust. Also, mine has the Monster Speed wheels on it, but I do still have the stock wheels. These are kind of just my track wheels, but it really looks good. I mean, I personally think that this car, the Miata, has aged very well, and both cars seriously just look fantastic, even though they've been on the market for a couple of years now. It's really hard to pick which one I personally think looks better. I mean, I like the classic look of the Roadster with the soft top that's much more simple, but if you guys want, that uniqueness of the RF, it's also a model that you could go for if this is something that's on your list. So Miatas have never really been about horsepower, and the RF and the soft top are no different from that. Both have identical engines, 2-liter direct injection, Skyactiv, high compression ratio, unique exhaust manifold, 4-cylinder engines. They both make 155 horsepower, 148 pound-feet of torque. If you guys go for the Club model, you'll get like a strut tower bar. These GTs don't have it, but you can see the engine is a very refreshing looking engine bay. I mean, you have a lot of mechanical parts. I mean, you have an aluminum valve cover. You have lots of, really nicely put together, electronics that just look it's kind of like a throwback. A lot of engines today are covered with a lot of plastic, but Mazda doesn't do that with the Miata. I really like this red oil cap that this particular one has. I think I actually may go over to the dealer and add that later on because it just really finishes off the look. Now, fuel economy, in case you're wondering, they're rated around 27 city, 33 on the highway. You're going to be getting much better gas miles than that. It's kind of underrated. This particular one weighs about 100 pounds more. It's like 2,400 pounds versus 2,300 pounds. 6-speed manual or 6-speed automatic. You guys know which transmission you want. And of of course, Miatas are all rear-wheel drive. The inside of both cars is also pretty much identical, aside from the fact that my tester on the RF, it has the really nice tan interior with the two-tone. Mazda also offers like a saddle brown leather if you guys go for the machine gray metallic, or the black like mine with the red stitching. But I mean, the interior is definitely a snug fit. What I've noticed is this generation Miata isn't quite as roomy feeling as the previous model because this is smaller. It's definitely for shorter, skinnier people. I mean, I'm 5'7" and this car fits me really well. One thing though, this car is lacking is any telescoping wheel. It just has a tilt, so there are times where I wish the wheel would come closer to me. But all Miatas come standard with push button start. The intelligent access key is optional. It's like 130 bucks extra if you guys want the actual part where you can just push a button on the door. But to start the vehicle up, put the clutch in. This light turns green, and then push this button here to fire up the engine. Now, surprisingly, for just a Miata, it has a little nice burble from the engine as it revs up when you first start it up, just like, you know, the soft top on mine. And you know what? It actually has a decent noise. This is the stock exhaust on the RF. I'll start mine up. I'll show you guys the difference with that active exhaust. But as you can see here, the rest of this interior is identical. You have really nice stitching there. This is hard touch plastic up here, but you have the Mazda Connect head unit. It's definitely starting to get old. It doesn't have Android Auto or CarPlay, and Mazda doesn't give you a backup camera still. The Fiat 124 Spider does, so I imagine Mazda is going to add a backup camera later on, or maybe next year. Now, it's all controlled from this Connect controller here, or you can use the touchscreen. I'm not going to go in depth with that because I've showed you guys a video before. One thing I do want to talk about really quick is the instrument panel on the RF. You have this unique new color LCD screen here, which you can literally adjust. It looks a lot better versus the kind of electrochromatic look of the mine. So this is another reason why you may want to go for the RF. Now, first of all, I want you guys to see the headroom in here. I actually think it feels more spacious than mine. I have a little bit more headroom versus the soft top. I'll get into that and I'll show you guys the differences. But you guys are probably wondering, how does this thing look when the top goes up and down? And I'm going to show you that right now. It's controlled from this button right here. You just kind of push this button up and then the top will start to go down. And the whole process takes around 13 seconds, which is actually very fast by Roadster standards, but as you guys will see in the soft top, that's really slow compared to how fast that goes up and down. But you can see when the top is down, I actually think it feels nice. I mean, you still have this, you know, open feeling, but when you look over your shoulders, you will see this panel right here, which doesn't give you the full Roadster experience. If that's an issue for you, you may want to go for the soft top. But like all the other Miata models, there isn't really any storage in here. You have this little small storage area here. There's no traditional glove box. These cup holders still, you know, pull in and out if you want to, you know, move it from this position to that position. And then you have this little small storage area right here. If you guys do want to put any stuff that like and hide it away from prying eyes. Stepping inside the inside of my soft top, you can see instantly I'm feeling there is slightly less headroom. So it's a good thing that Mazda gave you a little bit more. If you're taller, you may want to try out the RF first because you do have slightly more space. Now, basically the same thing. You have push button start, keep the key in the vehicle, put the clutch in, and let's start it up. And you can hear mine because it has the active exhaust on it, which, by the way, it actually came with a remote control, and then you just have to turn on the active exhaust right now, and then I'll rev it up. You can hear it's definitely a little bit louder. I like the sound. I highly recommend adding the Flying Miata active exhaust if you guys are trying to get this car. Now, the rest of this interior, I've got obviously the black with the red stitching. It's aged very well. I mean, mine is like almost 2 years old, and I have to say I haven't had any issues with it, other than the fact that there's no like storage in here, and then this aluminum trim here gets a little bit scratched up if you guys aren't careful. So I would recommend just being a little bit more cautious there. The rest of this interior, you always are reminded of the body colored panels here, just like in the RF. The seats, I think, are really comfortable. And the space, other than the headroom, feels identical to the RF model. Now, let's put the top down on mine. I'll show you just how quickly it is for the soft top model. I mean, it took like 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds. I'm being a little bit, you know, nice there. But, I mean, obviously, if you like the, you know, the security aspect of the hardtop, it's going to take a little bit longer because it's a mechanical, or it has electronics and motors that moves it. But to put the top up of mine, you know, it's equally fast, one latch. So again, if you prefer the simplicity of the soft top, I recommend going for that. If you like the looks and you need like additional headroom, you may want to go for the RF model. So with the hardtop Miata adding about 100 pounds, as I said earlier, how does the RF model drive in comparison to the soft top? Well, as you guys can clearly see, I'm going to start my driving portion here with the roof still up because I want to show you guys at higher speeds how the noise is. And this is where the Miata RF seriously excels. It is far quieter in this model than the soft top, just because Mazda obviously added the hardtop mechanism, the materials. It's made the cabin a little bit quieter. I mean, this is still not a quiet car. You're not going to go and confuse this for like a luxury car by any means, but it still, you know, has the nice enclosed feeling. This is where the Miata RF seriously differs from the soft top. But when the roof is up, you feel like you're almost in a coupe. It gives you that nice closed in, secure feeling. Not really closed in, because this cabin, although it is tight, I mean, one thing I am noticing, I'm short, but I do have more headroom in here. So if you're taller and you're thinking about buying this car, I highly suggest giving the RF a try, because it does give you a smidge more interior space headroom-wise versus the soft top model. And just like the soft top, the RF is definitely a momentum car. This is not a car that is going to blow you away with power, but I honestly don't feel the extra weight that this model has. It still feels just as playful as the soft top. The shifter is still fantastic. The engine still loves to rev. Makes a nice induction noise, although you don't really hear any exhaust noise like I'll show you guys in my soft top model with the active exhaust. But this is still one immensely fun to drive vehicle, and it's just as playful to drive with the top up or down. Now, one thing the ND Miata actually has really strong amounts of is low-end torque, surprisingly. In any gear, pretty much, you put your foot down and it just responds so quick. The only way a naturally aspirated engine can, unlike a turbo engine where there's lag, this car is just such a joy to drive, even with the heavier roof mechanism. And the clutch and shifter, super easy. I mean, if you're trying to teach someone how to drive stick, this is the car that you want to learn in. The clutch is light, engages right in the middle of the travel. It's really easy to feel where the clutch catches. And really, you're just going to find yourself with a huge smile on your face. Now, Mazda says the top is able to go down at like up to 6 miles an hour, which is a stupid slow speed. Most other manufacturers do it at like 30 miles an hour, so it's a little annoying. You can't really do the top down on the fly. However, it only goes down in about 13 seconds, so at a light here, you can actually put the top down while you're sitting here waiting for the light to change, which I'm going to do right now. Oh yes. Yeah, this is exactly why you bought a convertible. For this moment right here. All right, the light's green, nobody's behind me, thankfully, and it's done. Cool, we're off. And you can hear with the top up, I'm gonna leave the windows up because I'm gonna try to minimize the noise. I am noticing that the wind noise in here is actually a little bit more than the soft top with the top down. You hear more of the wind buffeting going past this pillar right here. I hear a lot of wind noise. There is slight more wind entering the cabin, which is interesting. These flying buttresses, whatever, they're just creating some turbulence whenever the top is down. But you can see the sun still is coming in. You still have that nice open air feeling, which again, if I look over my shoulder, I can see that right there, which some of you, it may bother you. For me, I honestly think it's fine. I still have, the roof is missing, so you have the best of both worlds with the RF model. Just know that there is slight more wind noise and a little bit more wind buffeting when the top is down compared to the soft top model. Now, Miatas have always handled well, and the ND is no exception. I'm not going to go too much in depth with the handling because you guys have seen the way the soft top handles. The RF feels exactly the same. The steering, it's electric power assist. It does a little bit lack a little bit in feel, but the precision, it's quick, it's communicative, it's really, really easy to drive this car and have lots of confidence. Now, Mazda did adjust the suspension tuning on the RF. They say they reduced the body roll a smidge. Honestly, I need to drive the club model to really confirm that. This car rides and handles very similarly to mine. I mean, they have essentially the same suspension setup where Maybe this one has slightly less body roll. I honestly would need to get it out to a track to confirm that, which I doubt people are really going to track the RF model as much, just because if you're a purist and you want to, build this into a race car, you're not going to go for the RF. This is more of the GT cruiser, the stylish, car that makes a statement, and that's exactly why Mazda decided to bring back the hardtop and then make it look as good as this one does. Now I want to get it up to highway speeds here, just so you guys can hear the noise levels, and you can still have a conversation with the person next to you. But again, it's a Miata. This is not always the most refined vehicle, but it's definitely gotten much better over the years. And I think a lot of you who are looking for this car, there's going to be a pretty even take rate of 50-50. There's going to be the traditionalists who want a soft top with the simplicity of the manual rolling top, and then those of you who want something different, the Miata RF certainly delivers. But let me hop into my soft top model really quick with that active exhaust and show you the differences on how it drives. So for the driving portion, you guys have probably been aching to see what the my Miata sounds like with the active exhaust on. And right now I have the baffles in the open setting. You can, as I showed you guys earlier, you can use the remote here to turn it on or off. And this is with the baffle on, which is how I kind of drive with the car mostly. I have it in third gear now, and you can hear it has a really nice, deep, baritone sound, especially when you're kind of doing like a mid-range pull. At higher revs, it doesn't really sound too much different. It kind of screams the way that the stock exhaust system does. And those of you who think there's like kind of that changeover noise you get with a Honda VTEC engine, I'm sorry, that's not here. But what you do hear is that nice, deep growl. It makes the car sound more aggressive without being overbearing, and that was kind of important to me when it came to an exhaust. Now, in terms of how this car feels compared to the hardtop, they drive pretty much identical. I don't really feel a difference in the weight or in the handling. Mazda says they adjusted the suspension in the RF so it has less body roll. It's hard to tell unless I'm really pushing the car at a track. In terms of noise with the top up, I rarely drive with this car with the top up, but I figured I'd show you that. And it's not bad. When I get into the hardtop, I'll show you guys the difference in the sound, because Mazda did put a little bit more sound insulation, but you don't really feel the car's weight. This soft top Miata feels very much identical in terms of the handling, but the exhaust noise is just fantastic with this aftermarket, Flying Miata active exhaust. And basically, I just leave the baffle on and I can just, enjoy this car even more. Now that it has that noise, I don't really need to be going fast. Just do a couple of third or second gear pulls and you can really hear the noise this thing makes. It's just fantastic. But let me switch the exhaust to its off setting here, and that should quiet it down ever so slightly. And it should sound stock. I'm going to do another pull here and you should be able to hear that it's basically stock sounding to the standard Miata. It's amazing how this car still puts a huge smile on my face, even though I've had it for 2 years now. It's just fantastic. So I'm in third gear right now. We're going roughly about the same speed I was earlier, flooring it. Again, the exhaust is pretty quiet, but then I'll turn the active exhaust back on for you guys, and we'll try again. And you can hear immediately the tone, the pitch of the engine is much louder, and that's exactly what the Flying Miata Hush-O-Matic active exhaust offers for you guys. Now I'm going to put the top down really quick so you guys can see the difference, or hear the difference in the noise, and we can try to hear that exhaust again really quick. Now as you guys saw in the test drive, the RF has slightly different suspension tuning, which results in a little bit less body roll, which honestly I didn't really notice too much when I was going through the corners. When the top was down on both, surprisingly, the Miata, the RF model, had a little bit more noise, which was the opposite when you put the top out on this. It was a lot quieter versus this one. So coming to the conclusion of my video, which one is the better choice? And that's a really hard one. I struggled with this a lot because I really love the looks, the proportions, and how this thing just gets a lot of stares because of the unique fastback design versus this model. However, if you're an enthusiast, you actually plan to track the car, a roll bar is probably a lot easier to install on this. I know a lot of aftermarket companies are still working on installing one for this car. This piece here is not compliant with the SCCA, so you still need to have a roll bar installed with this. So if you guys are thinking, I'll just get the hardtop version, I don't need a roll bar, you're wrong. You're still going to need one even though you guys go for this model. Now that brings me to the pricing of these two. The RF is roughly about $3,000 more expensive than the soft top. As tested, the GT soft top is around $31,000. This one's around $34,000. Now the difference in price isn't too much. Honestly, if I was going to do it all over again, I probably would get the RF model, as I'm not the kind of person that's going to really, race these things hard and have a roll bar installed. But if you guys were going to take your pick, it's really difficult. It's really going to come down to what your budget is, which design you prefer, and how you plan to actually own this car. If you're planning to just use it as a weekend toy car, you may want to go for the RF model. But if you actually plan to be a serious racer and you want to track this thing, you're probably going to end up going for the soft top model. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my overview of both the Miata RF and the Miata soft top. If you're in the market for a convertible and you want something that is really much a pure driving experience that's affordable, these two are really the only choices on the market, aside from the Fiata, which is also a Miata just with a turbo engine. But if you guys are also looking to see those cars I'm testing, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you all in the next video. Does that lady not even notice her car is like producing all that smoke? Wow, she's an